Hello, hello, and welcome to this challenge. My hair is wet. I just washed it, nice and clean. Okay, Albertsons American Blended Whiskey, matured in American oak. Makes sense because it has to be. That's the law. All right. This company was founded in 1939, but I don't think they started making Albertsons whiskey in 1939. Can you still buy this? I don't think so. However, on the other hand, I did buy Albertsons rum, the silver, Caribbean silver rum, over the summer. So I bought 2 bottles of it, two size to make a whole. But so, never say never. Maybe it's still in production. I don't think it is, though. I got this so cheap. It was on closeout. They had the green Albertsons green closeout tag. It's like a cardboard tag, and it was $4.99. I bought this in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, on US Highway 61, southbound side of the highway, at the intersection of Louisiana Highway 42. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Okay, so I bought this at that Albertsons store. No, Albertsons has no distilleries of their own. It's bottled by Line Distillers, Louisville, Kentucky, 80 proof. It's 80% grain spirits. It's only 20% straight whiskey, straight bourbon of some brand, probably ancient age or Old Charter or Kentucky Tavern. Andy Peterson says, hi, hello to you. Thanks for watching. Now, the competitor, Old Thompson, introduced 1904 American blended whiskey, and then there's a write-up on here about how it's carefully crafted and blended and all that. Bought this at Total Wine and More for $7.99, and it's a whole liter. So $4.99 for the $7.50 special price, and $7.99 for the liter normal price at Total Wine and More. Don't know if it's sold in your town. Also 80 proof with an 80-20 blend ratio, but neither one of these have an age statement. You say, so what does that mean? It means it means something. This means something, and I'll tell you what it means. Blue Ribbon says, hi, Ron, it's been a while since I watched live. Cheers from Alberta, Canada. Oh, cheers to you. Got this Cubs shirt on. All right. Well, adjust that neck. It's rumpled. Okay. Anyway, shirt's too stretched out. I need to replace it. I have many other Cubs outfits, apparel though. This one's comfortable. Comfortable though. You know, when they get worn out, they get comfortable. They're the most comfortable. All cotton. All right, but anyway, enough of that. If there's no age statement on American whiskey, whether it's bourbon, whiskey, like just could be whiskey, like early times, or blended whiskey, fine. You don't have to put an age statement. You're not required to, but it has to be at least 4 years old. That's the clincher. So we know these two are both aged at least 4 years, and I mean the straight whiskeys in there. The grain spirits don't have to be aged at all. They can be produced and bottled the same day. I mean, after you blend it, whatever kind of machines they use to blend the straight bourbon with blended. They can have flavorings added. Don't have to, can. And they can have coloring added, caramel color. But I think they said on there, oh, and it can even have up to 2% blending sherry, which is probably the flavorings, blending sherry. You say sherry wine and whiskey, well, that's what the law allows. So interesting, isn't it? Now, here's another confusing thing to me. And I'm going to try to end this at the top of the hour because I want to go watch the news. so I can hear all the fear mongering. You know, I like to hear fear mongering, even though it's so laughable. The grain spirits have to be stored in wooden containers. Oak. Well, if you're storing it, it's aging, ain't it? But I don't think they store it too much because they use it all the time to make vodka, gin, blend it with this, or sell just straight grain spirits. I was at Total Wine yesterday, and they had their own brand of grain spirits. I can't remember the brand name, some Total Wine brand. But then right next to it was Everclear. And it was a 1,750 milliliter bottle of Everclear. You know, the handle bottle, glass too. I said, what? Why would somebody buy that much of that stuff? That stuff's something else. I never tried. I only tried that once at the Bardstown Distillery. No. She was letting us take sips out of one glass, me and the other guy on the tour. And she said, don't worry about germs. Ain't gonna be any germs on this glass. This stuff's 190 proof. It's like sterile. Now the Old Thompson's darker than the Albertsons, but it isn't much difference. So maybe you can notice one's a little darker brown, darker tan, but it's so minimal. I'll never watch MSM news ever again. I watch it, mainstream media news, because then I just, whatever they say, I believe the opposite. See, that's the way you do it. If they say this world leader is a bad guy, he's bad, then you figure he's probably pretty good. Glenmore sounds like a Scotch whiskey company. It's something about the guy that started the distillery was from Scotland, and he was naming the distillery after some location in Scotland called Glenmore. And so, but then they bought it from him. The Thompson brothers bought it from him, and that's why they called it Old Thompson. I guess they named it after their father or something like that. So it was a real name. It was real people, Thompson. Then they, somewhere along the line, I think right when Prohibition started, they sold it to Barton Distilling, but they kept producing it. Glenmore kept producing it, whiskey during Prohibition as a medicinal spirit. So they were one of the few companies allowed to keep making whiskey, so they survived. Then in 2009, Barton was purchased by Sazerac from another company, so it's really Sazerac. And we know it's Sazerac because look on the side of the bottle. It says, we love to hear from our customers. www.sazerac.com or 1-866-729-3722. So there's your answer. You say, well, who's County Line Distillers? Oh, it says, we love to hear from our customers. Same phone number, but it says info@bartonbrands.com. info@bartonbrands.com. What is your answer? Barton Brands own Glenmore, and Sazerac owns Barton. So both of these whiskeys are under the Sazerac umbrella. Well, I think they do pretty good work. Hey, Ronald, I'm in a whiskey and malt. Wait, let me put my glasses on. I am a whiskey and malt liquor fan. I know malt liquor is hated, but I dig it. Well, all malt liquor means a strong beer. It says super strike. No, I think it stems from the fact I like things like malted milks. Laughing out loud, malted milk. Okay. Well, it makes sense. Colt 45, they got so tired of people putting the stigma of malt liquor on them. They just changed the name this year recently to Colt 45 Lager. I'd like to get the new can and bottle for my collection. Colt 45 Lager. Well, malt liquor can be a lager. Malt liquor can be anything. It can be an ale. I used to get, y'all might remember back when Guinness was called malt liquor. You say, what are you talking about? Dumb, dumb. Well, go find an old bottle of Guinness from 10 years ago, and it says Guinness Stout, and then below it says malt liquor. And then if you get the Guinness Foreign Extra Stout, it used to say malt liquor. And if you get Spaten Optimator, and that Guinness is an ale, if you get Spaten Optimator, which is a Doppelbock, it says on the bottle, malt liquor. All right, but that's another story for another time. I love Colt 45. It says Super Strike. Ronnie S says, hey, Ron. The ozone layer hates me, says, I collect 40-ounce bottles, so I wish I could buy a 40-ounce Colt 45 in Phoenix. We only have the jumbo cans. Oh, man, that's too bad. We do have 40 ounces here, but they're hard to find. But I think I know where I can find them. Ronnie says, I love malt liquor. Malt liquor, always malt liquor. Interesting. I didn't know that about Guinness. Yep. Used to be called malt liquor. Super Strike says, thumbs up, Ronnie. And Santa Claus, that really expensive Doppelbock from Austria, the Santa Claus Helles, and the Santa Claus Schwarzbier, and the classic, all three say malt liquor, and it's 14%. That's high gravity malt liquor. Hey, Friday Night Live with Ron. Nice, says Darryl. Yeah, Monday is not going to be a good day, I don't think, although I might have been able to do it. I saw 40-ounce Colt, 45 bottles in Little Rock, Arkansas. I should have bought it. Yeah. Okay, on with the taste challenge. Will I be able to tell them apart? Well, oh, I don't have the same level. It's not much of a difference, but I would like to have it even. I don't want to tip it off with just the slightest little bit of weight difference. I've had that problem before where the weight was a little bit off, and I was like, I know what it is. And you know, it's a taste challenge. It's not a weight challenge. It's not an aroma challenge. That's why it's called a taste challenge. So let's mix them up again. Cheers, Ron. Taste challenge, says Dr. Frosty Brew. Taste challenge. All right. It might just be 1 and 1. They might taste identical. But I did notice, remember, I said that the old Thompson had a strange pecan oil taste. Like, you know, when you're peeling pecans, well, you're really cracking them, right? You crack them and then you take the shell off. But they have that oil on them, and it'd be very oily, and it has that funny pecan smell. So this Glenmore's Old Thompson has that. To me, it does. That's my calling card. My guidepost. My you understand? My guide stone. Malt liquor companies started the stigma about their products by advertising them only for a certain group of citizens back in the 80s and 90s. Yep. You're right. They went after that. But I mean, they made money, so I guess they didn't care. The ozone layer hates me, says, nice, we only got 715 milliliter cans of Colt 45 here. Oh, man. Okay, here we go. Let's go. It smells like very mild whiskey. Like you get the bourbon in it. And when I say bourbon, like the vanilla, the oak, and then this nutty oil. And I remember Old Thompson from my previous tastings was very sugary. It was like sugar, sugar, sugar. Oh, honey, honey. This one is not, I don't think it's profoundly as oaky. But the aroma difference is not much. They're talking to each other. Okay. So is there a big difference in aroma? Not really. They both have like a sourdough smell, especially this one in my right hand. So I'm thinking maybe the Albertsons American Blended is using sour mash whiskey. And I know Ancient Age is sour mash. So maybe they're using Ancient Age. Oh, man, I felt played when I bought that Ancient Age 10-star. Because it used to say age 6 years. So I went and looked at the bottle the other day. I hadn't opened it yet. And I was like, where does it say 6 years? Because even on the Buffalo Trace website, Buffalo Trace, they used to say this 10 stars aged 6 years. I looked on the back of that bottle. I said, well, I'll be doggone. It said age at least 36 months. I said, you're going to tell me they dropped this from a 6-year age to 3? He said, well, it's 90 proof. Yeah, it's 90 proof. Great. And it's young. I was aggravated. I think the 10 star used to be 10 years old. It was like 10 year, and then it went to 6, and now it's 3. Come on. Come on, Buffalo Trace. Y'all gotta do better than that. Oh, that's all right. Okay, he got the number wrong. Is Albertsons whiskey the one Dave poured down the drain? Oh, no, I don't think so. What was the one he poured down the drain? And I said, hey, I don't give people whiskey so they can waste it. Hey, buddy, just popping by to say hello, says Chatty-O. Hey, Chatty-O. Ballast Point is good. It is. Hello, Ronald, says DJ Videos Scratch Channel. Hello to you. All right, taste time. I think he dumped out that Canadian whiskey, the Canadian Limited. I said, wait a minute. He said, tastes like licorice, black licorice. I said, I don't care what it tastes like. I don't buy whiskey so people could dump it down the sink. And you asked to try it. So I haven't been really pushing him trying stuff. But he has tried some other whiskeys. He didn't dump them out. Okay, cheers to y'all. Got to keep track of the time. That 8 minutes. Well, oak, stereotypical whiskey, as like the U.S. government calls it on the Tax and Trade Bureau website. Whiskey must have the aroma and flavors generally associated with whiskey. Yes, this has the flavor generally associated with whiskey. If you ask somebody off the street, hey, buddy, what do you think this tastes like? They would say, I don't know, some kind of whiskey. What is it? You know, they're not going to think it's rum. They're not going to think it's vodka, and they're not going to think it's brandy. They're going to think it's some kind of whiskey. They may not think it's good. No, you get kind of that corn liquor base behind it. That corn alcohol, grain alcohol. It's like corn, you know. Well, I like corn. I mean, I don't know why some people get so fanatical about corn. It's like, corn. It's like, you don't eat cornflakes? You never ate, like, corn? Like, in a bowl? I mean, it's pretty common. It's a pretty common product. It would be like somebody flipping out over onions. Like, onions. It's like, that's a common food. Go to any grocery store. They sell onions everywhere. What do you think bourbon's made out of? It's got to be at least 51% corn. Bourbon has to be mostly corn. What do you think I'm drinking here? They're mostly corn, but they're not bourbon. Why? Because the grain spirits, the 80%, is not aged at least 2 years in new charred oak barrels. I don't see much difference with these. I mean, they're fine. I mean, I wouldn't be running out to buy it, but corn, yeah, with a K. By the way, I smashed the like button for you. Oh, thank you. Crown Royal is my whiskey, says Super Strike. Now, see, that's a blended whiskey like what I'm drinking here, but it's a Canadian blended whiskey. It's the most popular Canadian blended whiskey. Shoot, it's one of the most popular whiskeys in the world of any type. Straight, blended, bourbon, single malt, don't matter. Crown Royal wears a crown, and it's the king. I mean, no joke. I was at the store Wednesday, and I saw somebody saying, I want some Crown. And I was like, yep, sounds about right. Ballast Point was so stupidly expensive in Orange County. Oh, man. I love it. Well, I could still get Ballast Point here, but you're right. It's not cheap. This is mild. I mean, if you don't like bourbon because you find it's harsh and kind of You know, too much charcoal, charred, oak and all. Well, you might like blended because it's so soft. It's soft, soft, soft. Now, some people are going to say, bland, you're wrong. It's bland. Well, whatever. Perception is reality. So if you like it soft or bland, whatever you want to call it, you might like it. Why does Total Wine have a huge blended whiskey section? Oh, you guessed right, because people buy it. Oh, right. What's the most popular American blended whiskey? Well, it's Seagram 7 Crown. You know, that's, who doesn't sell that? It tastes way better than these, I think. But I have gotten it wrong. Yeah, I've been fooled. Some of these lesser brands have actually matched it, which shocked me. And Beer Man Video Scratch as well. Alex, the Beer Master DJ Video Scratch. Hello, Ethan. Ethan says Crown is good but overpriced. Oh, it is expensive, but you're buying the name. It's like Jack Daniels. You're paying for the name. A buddy of mine had a bottle of 1980 Crown. Ah, that's when it still said Seagram's Crown Royal. Smoothest alcohol I ever had. I believe it. That's when it used to be 86 proof. Also 180. Mezcal should be on your list, Ron. I can't get to it. I cannot do it. I cannot do tequila and mezcal. I'll never get to anything. I mean, I would like to. Man, I was at a Total Wine yesterday and they had Moctezuma tequila, gold and white, and the blue label, the blue. I said, should I? Could I? But I said, no, don't do it. And that's one of the top 10 selling tequilas in America. You say, oh, no, not Moctezuma. Montezuma, not Montezuma. Well, I don't know if it's any good. I see people buying it. I don't think they buy it because they hate it. You know what I mean? I see people buying Montezuma. I don't think they go to the store and say, oh, I hate that garbage. Let me go buy a couple of bottles. I really doubt they're doing that. Vanilla. I'm getting the vanilla taste here. Well, it's a tie. All right. There is not any kind of major difference between these, I'm afraid. Are they good? Yeah, they're kind of good. They're in the B range. They're good. Somewhere in the B, 80 something. Not fantastic. But when you factor the price point in, they are fantastic. $7.99 a liter. Oh, yeah. Now, I saw a blended whiskey yesterday that was $5.99 for a liter. Oh, man. Clubhouse. But it's not as good as this. Heaven Hill. That's who makes Clubhouse. To me, it's got flavorings in it. It's strange. It's strange to me. And my friend David was buying it like crazy. He was buying it, buying it, buying it. I said, well, buy it. It is cheap, $5.99. Then one day I was like, why are you not drinking it? He had it like a whole bottle. He said, I just turned on it. He said, one day I didn't like it anymore. It got to me. I said, I figured that. It was coming, you know, because it's just too peculiar. All right. I'm going to sip over here, and then I'm going to try to. I don't know. This one has a little more oak, and that's what they're promoting with the Albertsons. So maybe that's the Albertsons. They got Asian American oak, like they're making a big deal out of it. So maybe that's the Albertsons. And this may be a little more sugary. So I'm going to say Old Thompson. My confidence level with it, this is not too high, but I'm going to say OT. It better say OT. Oh, man, it doesn't. I got it wrong. I almost said it's a tie. I can't tell them apart. That's what I should have said. But I still would have lost because I couldn't tell them apart. Well, what's the moral of this story? Well, they taste the same. What's the other moral? Shop price. If you see these two, get whatever's cheaper because it ain't going to make much difference. And in that case, that means Albertsons wins because it's cheaper and it tastes just as good. So there you go. Haven't gained anything, but I hadn't lost anything. Those prices are unbelievable. I'd be an alcoholic if I lived down there. It says Blue Ribbons. Yep, it had Seagram's on the bottle, right? Depressing, says Alan Ramos. What's depressing? All right, now anyway, so laissez-les bon temps relais. Thanks for watching this video production. Albertsons, as usual, wins again. Not because it's great. It wins because it ain't that much worse. And it isn't, in many cases, worse at all. And it's cheap. So there you go. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll be back tomorrow morning, I think, with another taste challenge. Old Thompson versus somebody.